Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh. What a privilege and honor it is for each one of us to have His Holiness and His blessings today on such an important webinar which we are organizing with the grace of God Almighty and with the blessings of His Holiness, Dalai Lama Ji. Nothing could be better than spending the quality time in the company of His Holiness. His Holiness, a very warm welcome to you on behalf of each one of us present here at today's webinar. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Warm greetings from Amity University, Haryana, and from the Amity Education Group. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great honor to have with us one of the most illustrious sons of Mother Earth, Nobel Laureate of Peace, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, to address us on his vision of a peaceful and compassionate world today. His Holiness is the epitome of peace and compassion and a living legend whose sheer presence inspires all of us and showers abundance of divine blessings on each one of us. The words of wisdom of His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji are a source of great inspiration to all of us to live a righteous life and to work with utmost devotion up to the last breath of our life for the service of mankind and Mother Nature, and walk with confidence and conviction on the pathways of peace, non-violence, compassion, and harmony. His Holiness, we feel truly blessed to have the privilege of having you today at the Amity Eminent webinar, which you had so kindly agreed to address us. Amity, as Your Holiness may know, is India's #1 private university, deeply committed to fostering quality education, society-relevant research, and innovations in plenty. Under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Amity Education Group, within a short span of less than 2 decades, has become world's largest education group, currently enrolling 175,000 inspired minds of students in our 10 Amity Universities in India and 17 campuses abroad that include Amity in London, Singapore, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, Netherlands, Mauritius, South Africa, Kenya, and lately at Tashkent. I feel highly delighted to mention that being a research and innovation university, Amity has filed over 1,300 patents and have published 15,000 research papers in journals of repute. But beyond science and innovation, His Holiness, Amity to all of us means abundance of Atmita. It also means eternal bonding and eternal sense of belongingness. And it also means that we all work together for creating a caring and compassionate humanity. And therefore, integration of values into the education, which is of word quality, inspiring young minds to engage relentlessly in pursuit of research and innovation, is an agenda at Amity University. In Amity Eminent webinar, in your company of Divine today, we would like to understand how do we go about from here and now to serve the interest of the mankind, the vast humanity around, with courage and conviction at a time when we are so well scared at the moment because of the COVID pandemic which had taken us by surprise. We never thought that a time will come when even the high and mighty vice chancellors will be looking for isolation in their home. And we never thought that the whole humanity would be so well scared, even have the fear of death coming from the microbial virus COVID-19. So the power of microbial kingdom has suddenly become more important, more powerful than the power of guns and nuclear missiles. And we want to understand how do we go about now waging a war against such like deadly viruses and create a compassionate community. Before I request His Holiness to share his words of wisdom with us, may I take this opportunity to invite my Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Asim Chauhanji, to say a few words in the honor of His Holiness.
Thank you, Professor Sharma. We are so honored and privileged today to have with us His Holiness the Dalai Lama. At this time, when the world is in an unprecedented turmoil and crisis, people are trying to find their footing. No message can be more important than the message of world peace and compassion that is being given by His Holiness. We at the Amity Education Group also base our philosophy on human values and working together to make the world a better place. And our almost 200,000 students and all of our colleagues in India and all around the world work towards this one mission, that what can we do at Amity to have a world which is better, more peaceful, and more compassionate. We have online with us today also our founder president, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, and our chairperson, Dr. Amita Chauhan. They are also my parents, and they are listening very carefully to every word of His Holiness. And after the talk, our founder president will also share his views briefly. Sir, we are so motivated. We are so grateful to you for giving us the opportunity to listen to you. And all actions of ours will be committed and directed to follow the principles of peace and compassion as spread by you all over the world. Your presence is inspiring, and we are so grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
His Holiness, we are looking towards your words of wisdom to inspire us beyond our imagination and to join you in your crusade, in your mission to create a world of peace and compassion all around, including here in India, where we need it in plenty too. Your words of blessing will be a source of great inspiration and guidance to each one of us in the educational institutions, in industry, and in the society at large. Please bless us with your words of wisdom today.
Thank you. Certainly, it is a great honor to talk with you and share some of my own,
His Holiness, can you please unmute the mic?
Kasa? Kai? Not working? Okay. So, I always, consider Indian brothers, sisters is something very close to me because I'm the student of Indian thought since the 8th century. The Tibetan Emperor Chisung Tezin although at that time they a very close link with Chinese emperor, so you see quite strong Chinese Buddhist influence. You see their tradition mainly, you see, meditate. Even today, the Chinese tradition, they prefer simply meditate, not much pay attention for study. And then the Shanda Rakshita, then Tibetan emperor, you see, invited top scholar of Nalanda institution. His name, Shanda Rakshita. He himself, great logician and a philosopher. So therefore, you see, we are the student of Nalanda tradition. So, and then also, you know, this country, over 3,000 years, already developed concept of ahimsa, karuna. Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha himself, product of that Indian tradition. Ahimsa, karuna. And you see, over 3,000 years already developed the concept of shamatha, single-pointed meditation, and then concept of vipassana, analytical meditation. So I feel the India number 2 most populated nation. Number 1, China. India is second. The China, great nation, but the political system, authoritarian system. Now, in free world, India, the number 1 big populated, democratic, freedom, because of a free country. So, and Tibetan, except there are some Muslims, and some very late, I think, in 20th century, or not late, I think, the early part of 20th century, some Christians, some missionary school in Batang area. So otherwise, I think 90% are Buddhist. You see, we consider India as Arya Bhumi. So we consider Arya means not the race, but you see the spiritually highly developed, you see, country. And then Tibetan, as a Buddhist, once in life, you see, pilgrimage to Bodh Gaya. Like millions of Muslims go to Mecca. Similar, we Tibetan, so once in life, you see, a pilgrimage to Bodh Gaya. So, and then, you see, we have some very special sort of connection. So sometimes I expressing, we are actually chela of Indian Guru. So ancient time, you Indian, our Guru. And modern time, now I don't know. I think since we chela, sincere chela, learn many sort of knowledge from Indian Guru. Now Guru not much pay attention about this ancient, you see, Indian knowledge. You pay more attention about modern education, about material value. So we chela So over 1,000 years, we kept all this knowledge. You see, this is not just meditation, as I mentioned briefly. We must pay attention, study. The Shanda Rakshita, he introduced Buddhism according to Nalanda tradition. So he himself, great scholar, logician. So we sincerely follow his advice. So according to Nalanda tradition, logical approach, even Buddha's own word, we not easily say yes. We always raise question, why Buddha stated that? And thinking, reason. So in that respect, Nagarjuna, his writing, immensely useful. I myself also, you see, daily my practice is to recite some verses of Nagarjuna. Very helpful. Very helpful. So these, the essence of Buddha Dharma, you see, try to reduce anger, attachment, and then fear. Because of attachment and anger, fear come. So the Buddhist sort of knowledge, purpose of study, thinking these things, you see, reduce your own inner, also the destructive emotion. So the my own case, my daily practice, you see, the two things, bodhicitta, altruism, based on karuna, that reduce self-centered sort of also thinking, me, that reduce. You see, thinking, entire sentient being. One sort of sentence from Shantadeva's book, I always say, recite, the so long sentient being remain, so long space remain, I will remain, in order to serve them. So all the destructive emotion, you see, very much related with self-centered attitude. So bodhicitta, thinking other, that is the, also the direct antidote of, you see, these source of negative emotion. I. Then another is a Buddhist philosophy, quite similar, quantum physics. One Indian master, Raja Ramana. Raja Ramana is the one who told me, quantum physics in the West is something new. In this country, 2,000 years ago, already developed quantum physics. And he recite some verses of Nagarjuna. It is exactly true. So things not exist as appears. Now quantum physics also say that. So there is big differences, appearance and reality. So all the negative emotion, you see, based on appearances. So appearance, things objectively exist. So all these negative emotion, destructive emotion, very much based on appearances. So the antidote of that go deeper way, then like enemy or friend appears something objectively exist. But according to quantum physics, deeper level, we can't find. So the Nagarjuna's theory, things are empty. The reason, emptiness, not nothingness, but things exist due to different factor. So we call Patit Samupanda. So things appears something independently exist, but actually things exist due to many other factors. Now, for example, the negative sort of thing appears you very uncomfortable and develop fear and anger. So if you investigate, then the negative force not exist as appears. Or negative emotion is almost half due to your own mental attitude. The worst kind of sort of a troublemaker, if you think different way, or that troublemaker, you see, gives me opportunity, practice of patience, practice of compassion. Then you see, instead of anger, fear, you may feel gratitude. So, for practitioner about altruism, enemy is your teacher. And then the philosophical sort of explanation, things does not exist as appears. Now some Chinese student in Gansu University, I sent some book which we publish here, Buddhist Science and Modern Science. So when the university professor, some of them, you see, have the opportunity to study, to look, then they explain Tibetan Buddhism is true Nalanda tradition, and that Buddhist tradition is a very scientific religion. Some of the Chinese, you see, professors, you see, express that. So the Nalanda tradition, you see, always you see, use reason, experiment. So that's very scientific way thinking. The Buddha himself, you see, express, oh, my follower should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation. So all this knowledge, you see, from India, so we consider you as our guru. Now, 20th century, guru, not much knowledge of these things. All these gurus' knowledge, as we sincere, trusted chela, we kept. So today, the reality, I think something different. Traditional chela become guru. Traditional guru, not much knowledge. So now, I have 4 commitments. Number 1 commitment, I'm a human being. I always believe and express the many occasions. Entire 7 billion human beings, we are same human brothers, sisters. And according some scientists, we are social animal. So individual's life depend on the community. So now today, entire 7 billion human beings are one human community. Now there is not much sort of differences, Easterner, Westerner, Northerner, Southerner. We all, like economy, the modern economy, no national boundary. So with help of technology, now whole world, whole 7 billion human beings are actually is the same family. So my number one commitment is promotion of sort of concept of oneness of 7 billion human beings. This, I believe, a lot of problem in the past and even today. We too much emphasis small country or community, nation. So the antidote of those problems which we too much emphasis individual, community or nation, even use religious belief, is a strong feeling of we and they. And then you see problem, including killing. So the antidote of that, we must develop concept of oneness of entire 7 billion human beings. The way we're born, 7 billion human beings, same. You see, we all, you see, survived with mother's milk. Mother's milk is the signs of compassion. So each of us is born that way and survived. And at the end of our life, the compassionate attitude showing surrounding people, the dying person, very much happier. The dying person is surrounded, maybe some doctors and something, expert, but not much showing human affection. Then the dying person, sometimes you see, may doubt. So unhappy. So compassion is at the beginning of our life. And at the end of our life, karuna is key factor. So in this country, as I already mentioned, you see, we already implemented karuna, implementation of karuna we call ahimsa. So Indian, we as a sort of student of ancient Indian master, so now I fully committed to promote concept of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Number 2 commitment, I'm Buddhist. The religious harmony, that's my second commitment. It is really unthinkable with name of religion, fighting, killing, unthinkable. All religion, the philosophical field differences. Theistic religion say God, creator. Non-theistic religion such as Buddhism and Jainism and so on, you see no concept of creator, but ourself a creator, and due to one's own karma. And here, India's sort of concept of Atma, beside this body, this mind, Atma, there. The continuation of Atma is a previous life and this life, from this life, next life. So there is no creation. So this is a concept. Now already, you see, there are cases of young children, you see, clearly express memory about their past life. Now some scientists also, you see, showing interest, these things. So India's concept, Atma, you see, something like owner of this body and mind. So body, with this body and the presence of the mind or brain, it's just one life. But real owner of the body and sort of mind, naturally we say, my body, my mind, where is I? Now, this country, over 3,000 years, investigate. So, you see, you developed concept of Atma. The Buddha, you see, the concept of Atma is a little bit extreme. You see, beside this body and mind, something independent sort of self, that we call Atma. So Buddha say, not that kind of independent sort of self, but self depend on this body and mind. So we can say Indian, Tibetan, so Tibetan I, Indian I, Muslim I. So the Atma depend with this body and mind, this brain. So there is no separate, independent self. So Buddhism called Anatma theory. Anatma does not mean no I. I is there. So therefore, my commitment, religious harmony, all major religious tradition, different philosophy, but all carry same message of love. Christian, Muslim, Judaism, Jewish, any sort of religious people, their main practice is love. So all major religious tradition, you see, their main message is love. Sometimes I sort of express all those religion is religion of human being. So therefore, all religion emphasizes the best thing about human mind, that's love. So all major religious tradition, you see, carrying the message of love. And for that, they utilize different philosophy. Some say there's God, some say no God. But all, you see, carry same message of love. So, on that basis, religious harmony, very possible. Now one example is India. This country, over billion populated nation. All major world religious tradition exist here. I never heard, you see, serious conflict in the name of religion. Now one example, India's Muslim, Shia, Sunni. I never heard complaint between these Shia and Sunni. And some other country, Shia and Sunni are fighting each other. So India is the living example. All major religious traditions can live together. And in some cases, mutual learning. And through that way, mutual respect. So since this big country, you see, over 1,000 years, religious harmony there. So therefore, I fully convinced religious harmony is possible. India is example. That's my number 2 commitment. Number 3 commitment, I'm Tibetan. You see, this physical Tibetan blood or Tibetan sort of flesh. So I'm Tibetan. Mentally, I'm Indian. And then more than that, now over 60 years, now here I am a refugee in this country. And they remain the longest guest of Indian government. You see, some time back, I expressed some journalist, one journalist asked me, why you mentioned you yourself as the son of India? Then I told, this is my mind. Every my sort of part of my brain filled by Nalendra thought, ahimsa, karuna. Then this physical survived by Indian dal, Indian chapati, Indian rice. So therefore, I consider I'm son of India. Truly, I believe. So then, on top of that, I'm longest guest of Indian government. So physically, I'm Tibetan, but spiritually, and now, according to circumstances, now I'm the Indian, son of India. Meantime, Tibetan trust me. And historically, I have some sort of responsibility to help Tibetan people. So my main concern, the political matter, since 2001, I already retired. We already have elected political leadership here in this country. And then my main concern is ecology of Tibet. I feel, you see, Tibetan ecology not only concerned for 6 million Tibetan people, but you see, because all the river, major river, which cover Pakistan, India, and Burma, Thailand, and then Vietnam, these countries, Mekong River used to come from Tibet. Then China, Yellow River, come from Tibet. So you see, Tibet, people usually call roof of the world. So it is high altitude, so usually cold. Therefore, you see, the snow kept there. So the ultimately major rivers which cover whole Asia, you see, the ultimate source, Tibetan sort of also the plateau, like that. So they pay special attention about the Tibetan ecology. That's my, regarding Tibet, my number one commitment. Then second, the most important is, as I already mentioned, you see, we kept all the ancient Indian knowledge, the Nalanda knowledge, you see, we kept. You see, the way we keeping these knowledge, not just a few prayer or a few puja, not that way. Over at least, you see, 20, 30 years, serious study. Myself, so when I final examination, my age, then I already used to study 13 years. Then after come to India, I still study these sort of ancient texts. So therefore, you see, the way we keep the ancient Indian knowledge, the firstly, root text, we memorize. Myself, you see, as a Dalai Lama, so in also the ceremony, I have high seat and sit on that. But when I study, when I study, my teacher kept weep to show me threat. unless you study seriously, you see, they show me weep, yellow weep. So I myself, I think 6-7 years already started memorizing these root texts. Then each word explained according commentary, wrote by Nalanda Master, and Tibetan commentary also is there. Then we, as an Nalanda tradition, we extensively use debate, logical approach, debate. So I myself, you see, through that way, the way to keep all this knowledge, not just a few prayer or ritual, but we study seriously. And then meantime, you see, we always use the emphasis, first level of knowledge is hearing, reading. The second level of knowledge, serious thinking, including debate. That bring conviction, deeper feeling or experience. Then, you see, use, familiarize, that we call, meditation. Familiarize. Then you gain gradually deeper experiences. I myself, as I mentioned earlier, 6-7 year old, already started memorizing some of these texts. Then read commentary or explained by teacher. Then use logical approach. So then 1950, correct, 59, when you see we become refugee, I already have some sort of knowledge. So then continuously practice. I usually, you see, wake up 3:30 morning. Then about 4 hours meditation. Meditation means analytical meditation, thinking. So that is really very, very helpful. You see, to reduce negative emotion, to increase positive emotion. Result, my mind peaceful. Okay. I think my Indian friend, you see, many occasions we have the sort of meeting. I think nobody, I think, seeing angry face Dalai Lama. always smile. So, although smile, there are different kind. Sarcastic smile and artificial smile. My smile, I think you can judge. My smile is sincere smile. I think animal, dogs, they notice artificial smile or sincere smile. Even animal, you see, they can make distinction. So, as a result of this practice, my mind always very peaceful. And one side effect, my body also, you see now, a nearly 86-year-old body, still very fit, no problem. Occasionally, my knees some problem. Otherwise, my physical condition very good. Because you see, peace of mind, very close connection. Too much anxiety, too much anger, then physical condition also sometimes difficult. So all these result of the practice of ancient Indian knowledge. So I really appreciate this life. I met Indian tradition and a serious sort of study and a serious thinking and a serious practice, immense benefit. Very good. Then India's sort of tradition, secular. You see, these training of our mind, not necessarily related with religion. Without religion, simply training our mind, that's as a sort of as a knowledge or academic subject, not religious subject. So, according Indian concept, so secular, that way I can meet different people with different religion, or I can talk, I can sort of also the exchange. If these certain object which come from Buddhist sort of text, I present as Buddhism, part of Buddhism, then you see some people may feel little uncomfortable. So the way to share with other people, I also, you see, doing according Indian secular way. It's a great thing. So as a son of India, I think carry the ancient Indian knowledge, which something relevant to today's world. So usually I also use it describing I'm sort of also carrying Indian thought wherever I go, non-violence, or wherever I go, always. So I am messenger of ancient Indian thought, ahimsa, karuna. So since practical level, since I become refugee, I become guest of Indian government and Pandit Nehru. And then all these Indian leaders, so they really, taking care of me. So now I usually, you see, proudly express I'm longest guest of Indian government. And mentally, or deeper level, I am son of India. Okay. Thank you. Then some questions.
His Holiness, we are truly delighted to listen to your words of wisdom. Oneness of humanity, of course, is the central message of His Holiness. Karuna and ahimsa must go together.
Right.
But what I think His Holiness has very loudly and clearly said, that in the Nalanda tradition, two things were greatly important. One, that meditation is integrated into the pursuit of knowledge. And
Right.
the second, which is I think very important for the scientific community connected to this webinar, that science and spirituality go together. This is what His Holiness has said.
Yes.
And so long as science and spirituality go together, you create a blissful world. You use the spiritual power of science for addressing the problems of the society, wiping out poverty, wiping out ignorance, creating a world of bliss. His Holiness, today the time has come again where the spiritual strength of science must be nurtured in the corridors and campuses of university, where each one of us now have to invoke the spiritual science of science, spiritual power of science, and might of technology together to combat the deadly viruses and threats which we all have. But what you say, sir, we bow before you in utter reverence from the entire Amity University fraternity. You are the illustrious son of Mother Earth. And we are so privileged to have you in India, and so blissful to hear that you recognize yourself as son of Mother India. We are truly blessed by you today, and I have in front of me very many vice chancellors of Indian University, and you have been very kind to address them at Sarnath when we had the annual convention of vice chancellors of Association of Indian University. And I have also in front of me the honorable founder president of Amity University and my two highly learned chancellors of Amity University, Dr. Atul Chauhanji, who is the chancellor of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, and my own chancellor, Dr. Shiv Chauhan, sitting alongside with Madam Divyaji to receive your words of blessing. So I would like now to open a few questions for you, which I have received from my people, and I ask them to ask you, sir. The very first question comes from Dr. Ila Gupta, who is the head of my School of Architecture and Planning. And she wants to ask a question. Dr. Ila Gupta, straight away go and show your reverence to His Excellency and ask your question. Dr. Ila Gupta.
Way forward for peaceful communities when they feel that violent forces are going to destroy the values of peace and compassion.
Speak little loudly and bring your microphone close to your lips.
Good evening, Your Holiness. I want to ask, what is the way forward for peaceful communities when they feel that violent forces are going to destroy the values of peace and compassion?
His Holiness, when the violent forces are destroying the peace and harmony, what is the way forward to create peace and compassion in this world?
See, Karuna, actually, you see, according to Indian tradition, or as a matter of fact, you see, India's ahimsa, you see, comes from Karuna. Karuna there, they never want to harm other, or always willing to help other. So you see, sort of violence harming other. So ahimsa, non-violence automatically come. And then think more seriously, utilize human brain properly. Then anger, you see, may destroy your enemy, but mainly destroy your mind, your peace of mind. And anger constantly develop, then very, very harmful for your own body. And in your own family, your own neighbor, you see, if you remain angry person, then nobody come close to you. Everybody, oh, that person always shouting, always anger, so avoid. Then, as a result of the anger, eventually you become lonely. That's very much against the basic human nature. We are social animal. So we must sort of have as a close friend. For that, genuine sort of karuna, ahimsa, and karuna there, then a friend comes. So anger, very much sort of against, actually very much against the basic human nature. We are social animal. Look, dogs, those dogs, or strong body, you see, close friendship with other dogs, then they live peacefully. You can see. Some dogs always barking, then become lonely. So we are social animal. You see, we have to live with other fellow human beings. So it is much better live happily. So for that reason, we are not talking about religion or next life. Simply our day-to-day life, more compassionate mind, or with peace of mind, then you get more friends, and you always remain among, compassionate society.
His Holiness, there is another question coming from Mr. Hitesh Agarwal, a student of MSc Applied Physics. Hitesh Agarwal, please go ahead and ask your question.
Good morning, His Holiness. My question is, why kind-hearted people suffer more difficulties as compared to greedy people?
That's the reality. Why the kind-hearted people, nice people suffer more than the crooked ones, His Holiness?
Kasa? No, I don't think. I think society where not much knowledge about peace of mind or about our inner world. You think material value. Or then those who is a tough person, they for temporary or superficial level, they more successful. Honest, humble, sometimes suffer. So that is superficial level. Here, I want to share with you the so-called modern education, very much oriented about material value. So in material value, competition, cheating each other. So for temporary, more successful, humble, honest, sometimes suffer. So therefore, is our existing education very much sort of emphasis on material value. So-called modern education come from West. In the Western world, there are moral principles side religion, just God, God, God. They are completely lacking about how to train our mind. And you see, more study about our emotion. That's only India have used this knowledge. So I often, feel the India 1,000-year-old tradition about our inner knowledge about our inner world, such as compassion, these things. India already have this knowledge. Then several centuries, the Buddhist scholars, Hindu scholars, and many, explain about these things. So these we should study.
Can we take another question from a young student, Hardik Ahuja, student of clinical psychology?
Yes, let me finish the one sort of my sentence. India, and modern India, too much pay attention about material value. Through that way, whole sort of generation come from that kind of education and more materialistic thinking. Now time come, the Indian education field should include education, secular way, education about our emotion, about our mind, and how to tackle these destructive emotion, and how to develop constructive emotion. That I feel very strongly the modern India, I think, should make effort to combine modern education and ancient Indian education about our mind, about our emotion. These things in the education field, I think, should combine these two things. In in the previous century, Mahatma Gandhiji is non-violence, ahimsa, he, you see, propagate on this planet. So many as far as I know, like Nelson Mandela and America Kasa, Martin Luther King, and so on, many sincerely follow with conviction Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violence struggle. So now, this century, I think time come, we notice too many problems, even religion causing problem. So we really need, you see, India's 1,000-year-old message of ahimsa, message of karuna through education, in order to help other people, other country. Firstly, within the country, you should introduce a lesson about, you see, our inner world, emotion, and how to tackle these things as a sort of secular way. So this, I really, you see, want you Indian concerned sort of professors and also students, I think, should think how to bring real sort of the antidote of today's world's too many crises, because too much concern, me, we, like that. And with that feeling and the reason, economy, religion, and these things. Now, for example, this country, India, a great nation, but still huge gap, rich and poor. The poor people, they are really, you see, suffering. So, you see, the sense of concern of entire sort of human brothers, sisters. Firstly, you should revive these ancient Indian sort of thought about altruism, then show rest of the world. You see, combination, usually I describe hygiene of emotion, hygiene of physical. India have the ability to these two things combine, then show rest of the world. So so now, like you, young Indian, you should think more seriously how to educate our mind, and through that way, peace of mind and destructive emotion reduce. This, I'm not sort of talking just as according text. I myself practice these things. So and one Tibetan, my friend, who spent 18 years in Chinese Gulag. Then early 80, he had the opportunity come to India. Then he told me, 18 years in Chinese Gulag, so few occasions he faced some danger. I thought danger on his life. And what kind of danger? His answer is danger losing compassion towards Chinese. So through practice, through learning, he considered compassion is a very important practice. So when he faced some sort of some torture from Chinese, then occasionally he feel real anger, and he considered that's dangerous. So now, scientifically, some scientists say our basic nature is more compassionate. Because we are social animal. Then latest, the scientists also, you see, anger actually destroy our peace of mind. Now this scientists say. Now last few decades, I have serious discussion with scientists because our Nalanda tradition, not a faith, but analyze. So, last, consider 4 decades, right? 4 decades, I have serious discussion with scientists. So now many scientists say, now peace of mind, compassion is very helpful for our mind, peace of mind, and through that way, healthy body, like that. So therefore, now India have the potential. You are not something learning from newly from outside. No. The question of revival of your own 1,000-year-old sort of tradition. And all these great masters, all are Indian, no Tibetan, no Chinese. So your own sort of ancestor. So the modern Indian should pay more attention about your ancestors' knowledge and their writing. I think I want to share or give you one book, Buddhist science and modern science about mind, as I briefly mentioned. The Hindi translation already there. Whether complete or not, the translation already started. Then English translation there, and Chinese translation. So I want to give you that book, a copy of that book, or the science of mainly science of mind, and that I mentioned modern science and Buddhist science.
Your Holiness, this is one of the most inspiring and special of, and so many hundreds of questions that have come from all over the world. But before we continue with the questions, I would request our founder president, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, to say a few words. He is the guiding light of Amity. He is considered the architect of modern education in India. He is also a highly beloved figure of India and the world. So we're so happy that Dr. Chauhan, our founder, is online. If I can request him, please, to address the audience, please.
Your Excellency, His Holiness, I'm Dr. Ashok Chauhan speaking. We all are so proud to listen each word of yours, each word of wisdom, and I am very confident that everybody, thousands of people in India from Amity and otherwise, and at my overseas campuses, their life would change from this hour onwards. All what you told, your 4 commitments, I think everybody will put these commitments as part of his or her life. Then you're thinking that in 7 billion people, oneness is something which should be the aim of everybody, what we have learned from you today. Also, when I smile now, I will see that my smile is a sincere smile. These all things which you told, before I say 2 words more, I will invite you told about Guru Chela. I will invite you now to present you one of your most beloved Chela, Dr. Pradeep Chobe, the #1 in pediatric surgery in the world. Dr. Pradeep Chobe, can you get the blessings of His Holiness? Please come online, Dr. Pradeep Chobe.
Certainly. Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. And we are all delighted to listen to you and also to know that you are keeping a good health, and your smile and your sense of humor is increasing day by day, and we feel very, very delighted and blessed by you. Our family, especially in the whole world, is delighted, and we are looking forward to your 85th birthday in July, and we wish you very best of health and a very, 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 very long life.
Thank you. Thank you.
85th birthday, His Holiness has selected 85 people all over the world, 85 people all over the world, those who will be allowed to pray their greetings, and Dr. Pradeep Chobe is one of these 85, as he is the most beloved Chela. Also, at the 75th birthday, a book was published, and 75 persons gave their comments and prayers, and Dr. Pradeep Chobe was one of them. When the son of Pradeep Chobe was 2 months old, His Holiness told Pradeepji, I will come to your residence to bless your grandchild. So this is the commitment of Dr. Pradeep Chobe, that on the basis of your karuna, on the basis of his karuna, he is treating so many people all over the world. And I think, sir, Corona has taught us more karuna, I think. And I will tell to Dr. Atul Chauhan and Dr. Singh Chauhan to make in all our universities, the 10 universities in the country, the Center for Tibetan Studies and Tibetan Ecology. And also Dr. Silvamurthy, Dr. P.B. Sharma at our 175-acre campus, New York, Long Island. We should make a center for Tibetan studies and especially on Tibetan ecology. Sir, we are so proud. My wife, Dr. Amity Chauhanji, a great scholar of Sanskrit, is listening, and she is so amazingly convinced, so that to every children, in every day Raman, she told, I will tell all your preachings, and we are grateful for whole life for giving us. I think you will remember, quite many years back, I invited you on the request of Chief Minister of Delhi, and we had a big meeting in Mavlinkar Hall. Yes. I sent a special plane to receive you from Dharamsala, and then we had a dinner at the Chief Minister's house, and I remember these memories, and my life has changed. Thank you, sir. We are so grateful, so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. It is my duty, whatever way, from my knowledge, from my experience, make some contribution directly this country. Then indirectly, since India, democratic, most populated nation, so the message of India can reach, I think, all over the world. So then, historically, China, Buddhist country. So many Chinese now today, over 400 million Buddhists in China. So as I mentioned briefly, those top scholar, Chinese, some university, they consider Tibetan Buddhism is a Nalanda tradition. It's very scientific. So, you see, you also, can share with your another big nation, most populated nation. India and China, two most populated nation. So you can make some significant sort of contribution for a happy world. At present, China, totalitarian system, no freedom of speech, no free press. But that will change, Okay. People always remain. The government or party, from time to time, change. So Chinese people, as I already mentioned, many Chinese, the government level, some criticize me, but people's level, they really showing loving kindness towards me, and also they appreciate some of my teaching, like that. So, thank you. See you again.
Before we finish, we would, with your permission, His Holiness, can we take one or two more questions? In fact, one of the brilliant questions is coming from one of our PhD student of nanoscience and technology, Mamta Thakran, who is saying that because of COVID-19, many people lost their job. Businesses and dropping down day by day, and hence they are getting into depression. What can we do to overcome their depression and help them at this hour of crisis, His Holiness?
And now the causes for every moment, you see, every thought, you see, due to its cause and conditions. Now you should analyze the causes of your depression somewhere. Now here, one great Indian master of Nalendra, he mentioned when we face some problem, some difficulties, we should analyze. If that difficulties or problem can overcome, then no need worry, make effort. If the problem, no way to overcome, then no use worry. Very practical, very practical. So now my own case, when I think 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm quite young, now quite old. But that, you see, now nothing can change. So old age, also one beauty, you see, more experience. So young people, a lot of enthusiasm, but much less experience. So old people, as an old person, is try to share. And then young people, physically, mentally young, so full of energy. So thinking these lines, if something something you can overcome, then no use depression. Thinking, try to how to overcome. Then,
Excellency, I have hundreds of questions before me, but I know your time is so precious. We are truly blessed. But can I take your permission to allow Dr. Rajendra Prasad, one of the greatest scientists I have in Amity University system, to ask a brief question?
Yes.
Dr. Rajendra Prasad, please.
His Holiness, it's a treat to listen to you and to see you so closely. I have a question out of the topic. My question is that life is unpredictable. If given a chance to rewind your life, will you change it or will you do the same thing all over again?
What a question coming from the scientist who is asking His Holiness, given a chance to rewind your life, to give you a choice to do it all over again, would you, Your Holiness, come back and bless us for thousands years more?
Kashosa. Good. Correct. Shema so correct. Not very clear. Your question, not very clear.
Sir is asking that given a chance, in your next life, would you, Your Excellency, like to come back again as Dalai Lama? or something else?
Oh, that's my private business. But, you know, my main daily sort of prayer and practice is so long space remain, so long sentient beings remain, I will remain. I already, I think, mentioned. And then, within this lifetime, whatever way I can serve other, that's my main sort of purpose of my life. Then I think we all, as human brothers, sisters, we are part of the human society. So our very life, not for create more problem to other. This is illogical. The very purpose of our life is try to serve as much as you can to more human brothers, sisters. Then ultimately, I think the best way to fulfill your own sort of happy life, the selfish is the, the negative sort of force. Altruism looks sense of more concern about others' well-being. The actually best way to fulfill your selfish desire. Okay.
Your Excellency, I know we can keep asking hundreds of questions, but I know that your time is more precious than any one of us. And your blessings are so important, not only for those who are giving you today, but for the entire humanity. We are firmly committed with you to create the oneness of humanity, which is the central core of the ancient traditions of our great nation, where we have gone even to the extent to say that the whole world is one family. Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam. This is the command and call of the Vedas, and we wish to work with you in our entire Amity University system and also in all our Indian universities to ensure that the age-old traditions and ethos of our ancient civilization, which are also deeply emerging from Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshila, and great many universities of our country, are once again brought to the forefront of educational horizon, and we are able to create and live up to your dream of creating a compassionate and peaceful humanity. However, there are several questions and anxieties which people have at a time when you have such an unrest whereby even in the highest and mighty nation like in America, killing of one of our friend coming from the African American community has really created such a great uproar. Question is being asked by my grandchildren to me. One of them is studying in Amity International School in Noida, and another one goes to DPS. They're asking me how to create cultural coexistence and peace at a time that we are confronted with such great challenges within us. But nevertheless, your blessings and your guidance is of great help to each one of us, those who are pursuing their course of life to create the compassionate and peaceful humanity. And we will take every word of wisdom by you given to us today in the Amity Eminent webinar and take it forward to millions of our people who are connected to Amity University worldwide. I wish to thank you from the core of my heart, Your Excellency, for sparing your highly valuable time to be with us today and to bless us at a time when we are really praying that let this coronavirus go away for good and allow us to meditate and pray for creating that heavenly bliss and divine bliss on planet Mother Earth. With these words,
Dr. P.B. Sharma, Dr. Amity Chauhanji will take blessing from His Holiness.
Sir.
Now she will take the blessings.
Sir.
Amitaji, please.
Our chairperson, Madam Amity Chauhanji, is one of the great sources of inspiration to all of us, and I'm sure the blessings of His Holiness will flow directly to AKC out. But Madam Chauhan, please.
Thank you, P.B. Sharma.
Thank you.
His Holiness, we are all so honored to hear you and taking your blessings. But I want to say one thing. You're looking so fit. You're looking so fit. Your smile and laughter is so contagious that when you smile and you laugh, I think the whole world can also laugh and be happy. So we follow your compassion, love. That is so wonderful. With your thoughts and views, the world will be happy world. Thank you so much for your blessings.
Your Excellency, you are looking fit and fine. Your Excellency, you are looking fit and fine. You look more younger than even a Vice Chancellor like me, Your Excellency. And therefore, Therefore, we pray that you continue to bless us for at least 200 years, like the Vedic rishis lived a life full of divine bliss for thousands of years. Why should Dalai Lama ji not bless us for at least 200 years and allow us, each one of us, to live a life of 100 years, physically fit, mentally alert, and our ears and mind and soul tuned to the divinity? This is what we pray for you, sir. Let you continue to bless the vast humanity, not only up to the age of 100, but 100 plus, up to 200 years. Our prayers are for your long, happy, healthy, and smiling life, full of divine bliss for the benefit of humanity. With these words, may I take this opportunity once again to thank you on behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, on behalf of the entire Amity University family, and on behalf of the learned Vice Chancellors and scientists and students and members of the faculty and HOI, and great many who are connected through Amity University live telecast, that for your highly valuable. We are truly blessed today. Your Excellency, I'm feeling so blessed that whole day today I can go without food. In fact, only chanting, doing meditation in my office or in my residence. Thank you so much indeed once again, and our utmost reverence and respect to you and to your entire team for giving us this honor of having you with us at Amity University webinar.
Then I want to share one sort of story.
Right.
One occasion in Delhi,
yes,
every morning before my breakfast, I come out of my room, and then they always, Indian police, you see, always there. So I said, hello. Then they also, you see, they expressed to me very warmly. Then I asked, judging my face, how old? I asked. Then they say about, I think, 70 or something. Then at that time, my age, young, I think already 80 or something. Then I told them, my age now over 80 years. Then the police, then I asked, judging my face, how old? They say 70 or something. Then I teach them, look at my face, and then my mouth, quite beautiful. More lipstick, but quite red. Then I show the police, look, my lips and my teeth. Then they also express naturally, you see, very happy smile. Then I acted. Then all the police who sort of there, they always, everyone laughing. So I want to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you so much. We are truly blessed today, and we wish to thank you and your entire team for giving us this honor to host you in the Amity eminent webinar today, which has been addressed earlier by Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi ji and also by the Nobel laureate of Peace, Professor Muhammad Yunus. And we are truly blessed to have you today. Sir, you are much bigger than the Nobel laureates. You are the noblest soul on planet Mother Earth, continuing to bless the entire humanity. And we feel truly honored and truly blessed by your kindness to be with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bless us for 200 years. Thank you. I will be doing justice to the questions sent to me by very many scientists and students.